Do you really need to wash your pillowcases every week to maintain skin hygiene, or is that overblown? Loofahs. Okay, loofahs. Okay. We already know your feelings on it. Is it bad hygiene to shower at night instead of the morning, or vice versa?
I have a confession. I'm going to call my husband out so many times on this podcast. He's going to get so mad at me.
How often should you exfoliate your face?
Again, don't come at me in the comments, guys. Like, you can use your hand. This is Exfoliation 101. We're going to dive into how to do it, why to do it, how it impacts your hygiene.
All right, welcome everyone to this very exciting episode. I'm Dr. Mamina.
And I'm Dr. Lindsay Zabritsky. Today, we're going to talk about everything hygiene. We're going to give you the secret tips and tricks and hacks that you need to know to get your skin glowing up, okay? So we're going to talk about body odor, shaving tips, Hibiclens. Is it the secret ingredient every derm swears by? We're board-certified dermatologists. We literally treat thousands of patients a year. We have decades worth of practice between us. Let's dive into it. But before we go into it, I want to first just catch up a little bit. What's going on, Mamina? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, just typical mom stuff. My son, I think, caught some kind of GI bug. We had to take him to the pediatrician today. And yeah, so just dealing with that. Another kind of interesting event in our household. So we have two sinks in our primary bathroom, and my sink just wouldn't drain, and it would just build up. Like the water would just keep building up. And I was just like living with that because I just did not have time to think about dealing with like emptying a drain. Finally decided to deal with this drain, and I was so shocked by what I saw in there. It was almost like flan, like that it's like Mexican dessert flan, like that consistency of
I'm
like
puking. I'm
Oh
puking
my God,
in my mouth a little bit.
It was like caramel colored, like light brown. No. So I don't know if it's like all the tinted sunscreen that is built up in my drain. But it just made me wonder, like, okay, am I like using too much skincare? What is going on?
Oh my God.
Because it was only my side. It was just my sink. So that was really interesting. And I am so upset that I did not film it because it was wild. But anyways, so yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know like how to advise people to prevent that. I guess just make sure you're cleaning out your drains regularly. Yeah. But anyways, that was really crazy.
I just avoid cleaning my sinks and drains at all costs so that I don't have to avoid that. Have you seen that trend on TikTok? There's like a song or something that people are saying, and it's like something about Memphis, what you know about me. Then they like gag because it's one thing that they can't handle. And like as a dermatologist, there is very little that grosses me out. I mean, almost nothing. And that grosses me out. That grosses, like, what even is that? It's like a buildup of like I think hair, it's product. And skin and product and like whenever when I take a bath. So I am. Speaking of hygiene, I hate washing my hair, which, do as I say, not as I do. I probably wash my hair like twice a week. I know I need to wash it more, but I'm busy. Okay. I'm busy.
I hear you, girl.
I live on dry shampoo. And when I take a bath, I won't tell my husband that it's due to me. He walked in the bathroom the other day. He's like, why is there like this gross brown ring around the tub? And I was like, I don't know why. And I know why, because I use brown tinted dry shampoo. So like I live off of it. So I'm sure by wash day, my hair is like 3 inches of dry shampoo. Again, I know this is a derm podcast. We're talking about hygiene. Do as I say, not as I do. Like you really should wash your hair more often. We'll get into that. And I know we've talked about hair, but like I gotta be practical too. Like I know what I'm supposed to do. You take that information, what I say to my patients, you take that information and do with it what you will. Like if it is not reasonable to wash your hair more often, don't do it. And for me, like, I am just trying to stay afloat. I know you are too, right? Like,
Totally.
we're just trying to keep our head above water, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally hear you. Like I've been walking around with like eczema on my pinky finger. Like I just don't care. And it's so
Yeah,
funny. Do as I say, not as I do.
I
Because
know.
if it's not itching, I'm just like, whatever, you know?
Yeah. We'll live with it. We'll
Yeah.
live with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's confused, by the way, our dear friend Dr. Jenny is traveling today, so she will sadly not be joining us on one of my favorite issues. Like, I can't get enough of hygiene, and I don't think social media can either. Like, it is
Oh yeah.
such a hot topic. Like, every
Such a
time
hot
I
topic.
every time I post about it, it's like guaranteed that there's going to be flooded with comments on,
Hmm.
well, what about this? What about that? Or just, it's a controversial topic too. People are like,
It is.
oh my God, just wash your hair. I mean,
Right, right. Oh yeah. Lots of people want to know what they can do to I mean, because like hygiene is also correlated with like looking and feeling good too. So it's all part of that. They're like, okay, having no body odor is part of like your whole look and presence. So it's all related to like self-confidence and your skin. So, yes, I'm very excited about this topic. But before we dive in, just a few quick reminders. Do not forget to hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to ensure that you never miss an episode. We love to have you here, and we want to make sure that we get to hang out with you weekly.
all right. Well, let's dive into one of my favorite segments, the Derm Download, where we bring you quick and hot derm facts we know you need to know. Okay. So, rapid fire, Mamina. Let's answer these questions. We got to keep it
Love
short.
it.
All right.
Yes.
1 to 2 sentences. Let's try. I mean, we're on a podcast, right? We chat a lot. So this is like
Yes. This
an
is rapid
impossible
fire.
task. This is rude, but let's try. Okay, I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Is shampooing daily actually bad for your hair?
The short answer is no, but it also depends on what you have going on with your scalp.
The short answer is so hard to answer. Like, that is such a nuanced topic.
Hmm.
Okay, let me answer too. Is shampooing daily actually bad for your hair? No, but it depends on your hair type.
Exactly.
Boom, done.
Okay, next question. Is it bad to shower twice a day?
Not necessarily. I think if you need
Mhm.
to shower twice a day, you live somewhere like we do in the swamp or the Gulf Coast, you might need that for hygiene reasons. But otherwise, if you're not sweaty or dirty, once a day is sufficient.
Agree. Yep, I agree. And if you have certain skin conditions that are exacerbated by, frequent showering, like eczema, you may also want to minimize your showers to just once a day.
I know we're supposed to be very rapid fire and quick, but how about that? Remember when on that like national TV show, they asked, it was like on GMA or something. They're like,
Yeah,
how often
yeah.
should you shower? And they said, we asked dermatologists and they said like once a week. And we're like, what? We didn't say that.
Yeah, we did not say that.
Like, stop putting words in our
Oh
mouth.
my
No
gosh.
dermatologist said that. Um,
Seriously.
okay. Your turn.
Okay. Is it bad hygiene to shower at night instead of the morning or vice versa?
I think do what you want to do. I personally prefer to shower at night because you sleep in your bed sheets. Why would you want to go to bed dirty? You're spending 8 hours a day there. It's just common sense.
I totally agree with you. Some people like that morning shower to wake up. That's fine. But I am sort of OCD prone. And I just think about like all the things that I've been exposed to
Mhm.
during the day, all the pollution,
Ugh.
all the germs, all the things. I just want to wash the day off.
Yes, it like feels so good. And
It
I
feels
don't know
so
about
good.
I don't know about you, but my double cleanse is messy as hell. Like, I just want to get in the
Yeah,
shower and do my double cleanse because otherwise I'm cleaning my sink up?
totally. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know this is a whole separate topic about like washing your face in the shower. I do that. I am very mindful about trying to make my water at like a cooler temperature when I wash, but it's just so much easier to do it in the
It
shower.
is so less messy. And if we can make our
Yes.
lives as moms easier, I'm going down
Yeah,
that avenue?
totally. Totally.
Okay, let me think of one. Okay. Can you use the same product Can you use a facial product on your body, and can you use a body product on your face? Can you interchange them?
I think that it depends on the product. I think for sure that products that are made for the face can be used on the body. If a product is only marketed for the body, I'm a little bit more hesitant to recommend using that on the face. And then there are some products that are made that are like marketed for both the face and the body.
Yeah, I agree. Not much to add. I think the only thing to be cautious about is using a body product for the face, unless it specifically says you can use it for face and body, because the body products can be a little thicker and heavier, which could irritate or clog the pores on your skin on the face.
Agree. Okay. Do you really need to wash your pillowcases every week to maintain skin hygiene, or is that overblown?
It's not overblown. I think you have to wash your pillowcases once a week. Again, you are sleeping on that 8 hours a night. That is 8 hours that oil, debris, buildup, makeup is getting into your pillowcase. Like it is common sense. Wash
For
them.
sure.
It's simple hygiene.
Yeah, I completely agree. Once again, do as I say, not as I do. I think for me, I wash every 2 weeks. But yes, if you are dealing with certain things like acne, because the oil that rubs off from your skin can also, irritate your skin as well, or potentially make you more acne prone. And so definitely if you're dealing with skin issues, I would try to
Yeah.
shoot for once a week.
And speaking of pillowcases, I am a personal big fan of satin and silk pillowcases. I swear by that. I put my hair in a silk or satin bonnet. What are your thoughts on that? Do you do that too? Are you extra like me?
Yes, I am a huge fan. I, at a minimum, will wear a silk bonnet. I rotate my pillowcases, so sometimes they're silk, sometimes they're not. But I totally agree. I think that there's like less friction. I notice a
Mhm.
difference in my skin
Me
and my
too.
hair.
And like I always say, there are some things that I will be high maintenance to be low maintenance for. And that's one of them. Like I will spend a, a decent amount of money on a nice silk pillowcase so that it pays off dividends in the long run, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I am totally on board with that.
All right. Last question. Let me think before we move into like the hacks. Okay. Is it necessary? This is going to cause a lot of controversy. All right. Is it necessary to wash your legs and feet every time you shower, or does the soap just run down and clean them?
Okay, so for me, it I think it is necessary to wash feet at least.
Hmm.
Just the feet is a little bit different from the legs. I actually don't think you need to wash your legs with soap every time you're in the shower. Now,
I
interestingly,
agree. I
there's some
agree.
soaps that can hydrate the legs too, so that's fine and great. But yeah, people get so obsessed with like rubbing the entire body surface area with soaps, and I don't think that's necessary. Just the areas that get more sweaty or stinky.
This is my rule of thumb, okay? If you don't want to wash your whole body, or if you're dry and sensitive, only do the pits, privates, and piggies. The three
Love
P's.
it. Love
But
it.
I'm
Pee,
sure I'm
pee,
gonna
pee.
get so many comments being like, she's so dirty, she's so dirty. But like, if you want to wash your whole body, wash your whole body. If you have eczema prone skin or you're dry, really the bare minimum is the three P's.
Yeah,
And your
totally
face too.
agree.
Your face too,
And your
obviously.
face. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like actually our microbiome is different in those areas too.
Yeah,
And so we see more issues or different issues in those areas, and better to clean those regularly.
for sure.
All right. Well, let's get into it. It's a skin deep and unfiltered combo on all things hygiene, starting with loofahs. Okay. Loofahs. Okay. We already know your feelings on it. Friend or foe. Yeah.
Oh God, I spoiled it. I spoiled
No,
it.
yeah.
I,
Well,
cou- I
it's
couldn't hold back. It's so gross.
they're so not a friend of a derm.
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, loofahs. Yeah, I know. And
Okay.
so many people really use them.
I have a confession. I'm gonna call my husband out so many times in this podcast. He's gonna get so mad at me. I have thrown away his loofah and he's taken it out of the garbage and been like, "No, I like my loofah. Don't take that loofah from me." And
Oh my
even the
God.
thought of it in my shower gives me like, it's like nails on a chalkboard. But the only positive thing about it being in my shower is every time I film and I want to drag that loofah, at least I have it as a prop. And I like will be
Yeah.
like, "Ugh," and then I'll sanitize my hands when I'm done.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh my gosh.
why do we not like it, Mamina? Let's for the listeners. What's
Oh
so gross
yeah.
about it?
Oh yeah. They are just a breeding ground
Hmm.
for microbes, bacteria, mold. It's just not hygienic, unfortunately. And people, I mean, I was just thinking as you were telling the story with your husband, like if he's really that obsessed with loofah, like I would maybe go to a wholesaler and buy like 300 loofahs and like
Yeah,
just use a new one every day if
for
he has
real.
to.
I know, or I
Um,
think they have those like African net sponges, the ones that at least like it's like an unraveled loofah, right? So then
oh
at least it
yeah.
can dry out a little bit more if you
Right,
really
right,
want
right.
that like loofah type of experience, you know?
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
there's actually been studies looking at how unhygienic loofahs are, where they've like tried to grow things, swabbed a loofah, try to grow things off of it, and they've grown anything from like pseudomonas to fungus. Because I mean, think about it logically. It's literally meant to. It is the definition of nooks and crannies, right? Every which way that water can hide, and people are like, "Well, I let my loofah dry out." I mean, have you ever touched a loofah? Unless it's been sitting there for a week or two, and even then, it's probably still moist. And anything that's
Yeah,
moist chronically is where fungi, bacteria, and viruses love to thrive.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I just have a random story about loofahs. I did like them in high school because I didn't know any better, and so did like my friend group. And it was like five of us, and we all decided that we would name our firstborn child's middle name Loofah. So random and like so bad. I'm glad that did not happen,
can you can you
but
imagine?
that would be
Noam
insane.
loofah.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, I'm Lupa.
It's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
No, thank you. Um, anyways, yeah. So yeah, as you can
People
tell, we're not
people are
Lupa
probably
fans.
gonna ask like what you use instead, and if you, I still don't love that like African neck sponge, whatever, it's fine,
Mhm,
but it's a okay. Again, don't come at me in the comments, guys. Like
mhm.
you can use your hand, okay? Like
Yeah,
just use
you
your
can
hand.
totally use your
It's a
hands.
built-in washcloth,
Yeah.
or use a different washcloth every time. Like you can get 7 washcloths, wash them once a week, and
Mhm,
that's way more
mhm.
sanitary than a loofah.
Yeah, exactly. There's also this Japanese washcloth. So I also grew up using those occasionally as well, and you can wash them, but
Hmm.
they almost seem like they're like loofah material, but a little bit. It's like a cross between a towel and a loofah, and like it's pretty thin, and
Mhm.
you can wash those. So it still has that loofah sensation ish. But yeah, something that you can wash.
Yeah. And dry,
And
right? If
dry.
you can, if that's the most important thing. So, well, anyway, let's dive into, I think, something that we get a ton of questions on as dermatologists, both in clinic and online, is exfoliation. So, this
Yes.
is Exfoliation 101. We're going to dive into how to do it, why to do it, how it impacts your hygiene. So, first, let's talk about how often you should do it. And does it differ, Mamina, from exfoliation on your body versus your face?
So I think that there is the body, the turnover is not as does not occur as often, but it's a matter of how much you also care about your body too. I do think that regular exfoliation is important for both the body and the face. But with the face, I do find that it's easier for skin cells to build up. And so I do recommend exfoliating the face a little bit more often than the
Mhm.
body.
And I think it depends on so many other factors too, your own genetics as well as age. So, as people get older, I'm sure you've seen this with your patients. First of all, I will say my older patients are my favorite. They are so kind, so humble, so genuine. But when they take their socks off, it's like a snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah,
their
blizzard.
skin, it's a full on blizzard, just skin flakes everywhere. It's because when you get older, your body just is inefficient at exfoliating and doesn't turn those cells over as rapid or as efficiently as it did when you were younger. So, when you're older, you really do have to focus more on very gentle exfoliation, helping to get those dead skin cells off, using gentle exfoliators like, a lactic acid or a mandelic acid or a low percentage glycolic acid or even like a low percentage urea. So it is important to incorporate that maybe into a daily moisturizer as well. And then it also depends on like if what your ethnicity is too. So if you are someone who like is prone to high glucose levels, diabetes, and you start to build up like thickened skin, you might want to exfoliate your body more often. Or again, skin of color, you start to notice more darkening in areas like your elbows and your knees, and that can be exfoliated a little bit more often than someone who, for example, has eczema and really sensitive skin.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think an easy way, especially for older people too, is incorporating a moisturizer that has those ingredients that you listed.
Hmm.
Like I love like amlactin, something with lactic acid, because there's also a moisturizing component like lactic acid and urea to those
Absolutely.
exfoliating ingredients. So you're kind of killing two birds.
Absolutely. And we're all about making life easier, not harder.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think a common question that we get too is how often should you exfoliate your face?
Oh, well, I mean, I think TikTok can tell us the answer to that because fortunately, the pendulum has swung. People were burning the shit out of their face with that, what is it, the ordinary, like AHA,
Yeah,
30% BHA.
yeah.
Like, people didn't realize how strong of an acid that was. And they were putting it on like candy. They were putting it on their face. They were putting it in their underarm. Like, I saw several patients who came in with like burns on their skin from over exfoliating. So
Mhm.
that's one way
Same.
you can over exfoliate is by overdoing the percentage of the acid, but you can
Mhm.
also overdo it by the frequency. So again, I love Polish Choice, that 2% BHA, and I do use it a couple of times a week, but you know, TikTok tells you that you should be using it morning and evening, and that is essentially exfoliating twice a day. That's not necessarily the right thing for everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of my pet peeves is some of the directions on some of these products. I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, like that's too much. That's too
Yeah.
much. I'm telling my patients to use this product maybe twice a week, even though it says twice a day.
Yeah.
So I would always be cautious when you're looking at the directions on an exfoliating product,
Hmm.
especially when you're starting out. I would make sure that your skin can tolerate it after like the first day and really doing it every other day. And like you said, it also depends on the strength of the exfoliant too. Like stronger exfoliants
Hmm.
can, I would say, once a week. And not everyone may even be able to tolerate it at all.
Hmm.
So I would be very cautious too before jumping into an exfoliant. But
Yeah.
there's also like some really gentle exfoliants that I do think that can be used daily, especially if you have a history of being okay with using exfoliants and if they're gentle exfoliants like polyhydroxy acids or super low alpha hydroxy acids.
Hmm.
I'm talking like under 1 or 2% glycolic acid. Some people can be
Yeah.
fine with doing that daily.
Yeah. I think one of the other common misconceptions that I have heard, or at least maybe it's not so bad now, but I definitely personally believed it when I was in my 20s and teens, is that you need to use a physical harsh exfoliant. I mean, I think if you're listening to
Mm-hmm.
this podcast, I would hope that you have some sort of idea that we hate that, right?
Yeah.
That those like St. Ives or those clean and clear beaded washes
Yeah.
from the
You're right.
2000s. Like, what were we trying to do to our skin? Like, what did our skin ever do to us to
I
deserve that
know.
disrespect?
I know people just think that they're being productive. I think when they are doing something, when they're feeling that sensation, I think to them they're like, "Yeah, this must be doing something." So people thought that they were doing their skin good by using these kinds of products, and I don't understand how it was such a huge phenomenon, especially in the '90s.
Yeah. Key takeaway. We'll interrupt this for a key takeaway. Derms Derms prefer chemical exfoliators over physical exfoliators. Just
Definitely.
for those who just tuned in. So, okay. Well,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on dry brushing?
Yeah. So dry brushing, I feel like, is a kind of a different phenomenon with a different purpose. And
Hmm.
I don't think that you have to dry brush at all, but it's meant more so for the body. I've seen like trends on TikTok where people are dry brushing their face, and I'm like, no,
Ugh,
that's too
no.
much for the delicate skin on the face. But
Hmm.
the skin on the body is a little bit thicker and a little bit more resilient, so it can
Hmm.
withstand dry brushing. But dry brushing has been actually an ancient practice, and
Hmm.
it's thought to help just kind of promote circulation throughout the
Hmm.
body. You're stimulating your skin, and that in turn is doing things to help with your underlying circulation, whether it's your blood circulation or your lymphatics. And also because of the physical bristles, it does
Hmm.
have like a physical exfoliation component as well to the
Hmm.
skin. And people do it because it makes them feel good. I'm
Yeah.
not anti dry brushing at all,
Mhm.
but it's definitely not necessary. Just don't use it on your face.
I'm curious. Do you do it? You seem like you would.
I do if I think about it.
Hmm.
I if I feel like I've been on my feet all day and my feet might be like a little bit swollen, I mean, I will do everything. I'll dry brush. I'll sit with my legs up on the wall.
I see. I've
Um,
seen that. You take the
uh,
everything shower to like next
oh my
level. It's
gosh.
probably like a whole day for you.
Oh my gosh, we should almost have like an episode with Rob complaining about my nighttime skincare routine or my nighttime routine of like all the things. Um,
Yeah, definitely an
but
idea for a future episode. Like every
yes,
extra thing that we do as
yeah,
dermatologists.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I think that it feels good. So that's
Yeah.
one of the main reasons why I like to dry brush whenever I
Okay.
do it.
Well, I mean, we could talk exfoliation all day. We'll chat on it another episode. I know the people want to know. Let's move into body odor hacks. Like that has to be
Yes.
one of my favorite things to talk about and one of the most popular topics that I've seen on social media. Videos I've
Hmm.
posted on it have gained millions and millions and millions of views. So clearly y'all want to know how to stop smelling like, I always say a garbage can on a hot day in Mississippi because they ain't no stink like that. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
okay. So obviously we know like first thing you think of body odor is deodorant, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
how do you tackle persistent body odor beyond deodorant?
Okay. Well, actually, with just the word deodorant, I think it's good for us to also just start by differentiating between deodorant and antiperspirant because I think a lot of people get those words
Hmm.
confused.
Amen, sister.
Yeah,
Amen.
I think most people refer to everything as deodorant, but there
Hmm.
is definitely a difference. Deodorant masks the odor,
Hmm.
whereas antiperspirant actually uses ingredients to stop the sweat from coming out. So there is a difference between the two. So we'll start with that. But
Hmm.
yes, there's other things that people can do, and we have both talked about it. One of the as we know, one of the biggest components, in addition to sweat, that plays a role in body odor production is the bacteria in our microbiome.
Hmm.
And the bacteria just love to feed off that sweat. And the
Hmm.
byproduct is this odor. So doing things to alter the microbiome or to fight some of that bacteria. And I know we both love something like benzoyl peroxide. Those can
Hmm.
target those odor causing bacteria, which is a really cool hack.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's
So
other
it's
ingredients too.
right. So essentially, to stop body odor, you want to think of it tackling the problem two ways. You either want to get rid of the bacteria that cause the odor, or you want to eliminate their diet, which is the things in your sweat, right? So you either
Hmm.
stop the sweat or you get rid of the bacteria, or a combination of both. So yeah,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
is very important. If you want to, this is a different topic, but if you want to focus just only on sweating, you have to make sure that you're using something like an antiperspirant. But if you only care about body odor, you can use things like benzoyl peroxide, which is a good one. And I really like that, but it can be a little irritating for especially the underarms, which can be quite
Hmm.
a bit more sensitive. But we can also use something like Hibiclens. We'll talk about that. And then
Hmm.
other acids that can neutralize the pH in a certain way to not to create an inhospitable environment for bacteria.
Yep.
And I'm talking about like glycolic acid or a hypochlorous acid. So, when I go to the gym, one of my favorite hacks is to like spray my body really fast with a bottle of hypochlorous acid that I keep in my car. So that way
Hmm.
I don't like stink to high heaven. And it's just, kind of neutralizes it a little bit.
Yeah. No, yeah, those are all great tips. So yeah, I people can know that there's more that they can do than just stop the sweat to affect the
Hmm.
body odor. I think people just think that their sweat is stinky because it's just them and it's their sweat, but it's also the bacteria. And, you know, people like sometimes feel like they're at a loss. They feel like they've tried like all these products on, over the counter and everything. And I mean, this is getting more into the sweat realm, but there are prescriptions that derms can do to help both the sweat and the body odor. There's like topical prescription antibiotics if you want to focus more on body odor. But if you want to work on the sweat in addition, there are so many options that you can get from the dermatologist, like other topical prescriptions. There's even oral prescriptions, and then there's
Hmm.
even Botox injections and like other
Yeah,
procedures like Meridry. So there's hope out there if you really want to tackle the sweat and the body odor.
for sure. Oh, well, on that kind of topic though, I know all over TikTok and social media is this clean craze, which it's
Hmm.
interesting. We can dive into that on another episode, but dermatologists in general are not like the biggest fans or proponents of clean. It's fine if
Yeah.
you want to go down that route, but you have to recognize the limitations and the risks that come when you're choosing something clean. But that brings me to like the natural deodorant, right?
Yeah.
Are natural deodorants legit? Are they safer for you? Are they better for you? How do they come in to play when we talk about hygiene?
Yeah, I think this is such a great topic because so many people have this crazy fear about antiperspirants and aluminum. And interestingly, I end up seeing more issues in patients coming in because of different natural deodorants that they're using. Because a lot of them are
Hmm.
full of certain fragrances and essential oils. And I do see a decent amount of contact dermatitis. And oftentimes people complain too because
Hmm.
they don't even work. They're like, "What can I do that's natural, but that actually works?" Do you
Yeah.
see that too?
Oh my God. I can't tell you how many times people have come in with rip roaring dermatitis in their
Yeah.
pits and they are in tears. It hurts so bad. And I'm like, well, what are you using? They're like, well, I'm just using this natural deodorant. I'm like, well, I say, compare it to like you wouldn't rub poison ivy on your underarms, even though it's
Yeah.
natural, right? Not all that is natural is good. Now, again,
Mhm.
I think we should save this for another day because we really can, and I really think we should, for the listeners, dive into the scientific evidence as to why aluminum deodorant is safe. But
Mhm.
in general, aluminum deodorant is safe. It has been noted by the different cancer societies, the breast cancer surgeons that say that it's fine. But if you have this, listen, this is your body, your life, your
Mhm.
decisions. If you don't feel comfortable using it, then don't. But just know that natural deodorants can cause some pretty bad allergic contact dermatitis.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. There's a whole that could probably be a whole nother discussion
For sure.
about aluminum deodorants. But yeah, thankfully, a lot of that. There was unfortunately like some things that came out in the '70s that later have been debunked by larger studies. There was concern about breast cancer and Alzheimer's, and those issues have been debunked by
Hmm.
larger studies.
Hmm.
But our grandmother, it's stuck with them.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so yeah, so unfortunately that's a thing. But yes, I agree. Like, I think whatever people feel comfortable with, use that, but be cautious. If people are
Hmm.
looking for, do, in something that doesn't have aluminum, but is quote more natural, I am a fan of the Vanity Cream line.
Me too.
They,
I was just going to
they,
say that.
yeah, they have both an antiperspirant and a deodorant, but neither
Yes.
have fragrance.
Hmm.
So I love it for people with sensitive skin who have contact
Hmm.
dermatitis from using their deodorants.
That's absolutely my go-to as well. Like every single time a patient comes in, I'm like, just switch to this one. And I
Hmm.
also have them change if they have like an armpit contact dermatitis, I haven't changed the laundry detergent because this is like an included area. So you could be getting more exposure to a laundry detergent, that residue that's on your clothes that could be irritating your sensitive armpits. So
Yeah, that's such
anyway,
a good
those are
point.
the two big call outs I say to my patients.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And like there are antiperspirants out there too if people don't want to use aluminum. I just don't think they are as effective, but there's other ingredients like arrowroot powder and things that can
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
help kind of sort of I guess plug those sweat ducts a little bit. But yeah, so it's personal preference ultimately, but we just as derms we say stay away from like the really fragranced smelly stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think one last question before we move on. What do you think about the trend that, or what people are saying online, that skipping a deodorant can actually allow your body to like reset and reduce odor naturally? Do you have any thoughts on that?
For me, it's so I am not I don't think that you necessarily have to skip deodorant to quote reset. Maybe you could switch deodorants because like that deodorant can your skin can get used to that certain deodorant, but I don't think you have to go a week without using anything on your skin. You can certainly switch to something else if you feel like that certain deodorant's not working.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any truth to that, but my one big call out though, and my one hack that I think everyone should know, if you are a sweaty individual, you're a sweaty Betty, as my husband likes to call me, you can put your antiperspirant on at nighttime because it actually works better overnight. And that's because you're less active, right? And your sweat glands are producing less sweat. And so everything's kind of like calm and chill. And when you put that aluminum salt on your skin, it actually gets absorbed a lot better, making it more effective. And so you sweat less the next day. So if you remember anything from this podcast, just remember don't over exfoliate and put your antiperspirant on at nighttime.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite antiperspirant hack at night.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's such a great, easy takeaway for people.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was body odor. Now we're going to move on to another super commonly talked about topic, and that is shaving and best practices with shaving. So I want to talk about this first topic is how to prevent razor burn and ingrown hairs. And I feel like they're kind of different. So we could just
Mhm.
talk about one or the other, razor burns.
I think in general, though, while they're different, they all kind of have very similar solutions. So for someone who's doesn't really care about like the nitty gritty details, I think the most important thing is to follow the smart shaving tips, which this all kind of lumps together, but you have to exfoliate, you have to do it appropriately, because think about the reason that these happen is because you're several reasons, but it could be trauma to the skin, it could be infection, it could be dead skin cells that are accumulating, and usually it's all of these things that accumulate to form a razor bump or a razor burn, which is essentially inflammation of the hair follicle, bacteria in the skin, trauma, all of that. So I say best thing you can do in a nutshell is exfoliate appropriately. I prefer to exfoliate beforehand. So that way you're getting all those dead skin cells off and that doesn't clog your pores and doesn't clog your hair follicles. Then I would also make sure that you're using a shaving cream. Anytime that you shave, you want to minimize that trauma and that friction on the skin. Friction, not good, right? So you want it to be a smooth
Mm-hmm.
shave. Then you also go to the type of razor you're using. So less blades means you're cutting your skin less often. When you use something with like 5 blades, for example, that's 5 times your skin is getting hit by a razor, which puts you at a
Yeah.
higher risk of ingrown traumatizing and nicks and infection and cuts and things like that. Then you do want to make sure you're changing out your razor blade. I mean, how often do you recommend changing out your razor blade to your patients?
So this is what I tell patients for razor blades, and I think this is so important. I say for every 7 uses that you shave, and like it can vary. It could be like
Mhm.
7 to 10 uses, or after like 10 to 14 days, change your blade, and that might be a little bit um, lenient.
Yeah, right. I think that like official recommendation from the AD and derms, and if you ask any derm what like the textbook answer is, it's like 5 to 7 shaves or something. But no one does that.
Yeah,
So
I know. Razor blades are expensive.
I know they're so expensive. But yes, if you really are dealing with razor burn and razor bumps from hell, like you definitely want to change your blade out more. And I know this isn't going to give you like the smoothest, softest shave, but you got to shave in the direction of the hair growth and not against
Yeah.
it,
Hmm.
right?
That's a huge tip. With the grain. Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't, it's like harder too. Like if you're shaving your legs, you kind of have to like shave downwards, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's a little bit more awkward. But yeah, I think all those tips are super important when it comes to shaving cream too, especially if people do get like razor burn or irritation. I do recommend like using a shaving cream with like no fragrance. There's so many shaving creams that are super potent
Mm-hmm.
with fragrances out there. So one that's like made for
Yeah.
sensitive skin.
Mm-hmm.
And an
I love the
interesting
one
hack
from
for people.
Aveeno.
Oh yeah, that I feel like I've used that one for like over 10 years.
Me too. I mean,
um,
it's the
yeah,
goat of
the sensitive
gentle,
skin.
yeah, sensitive skin shaving creams.
Yes. And then another kind of interesting hack for people who are prone to getting ingrown hairs. Rob is so prone to getting so many ingrown hairs in his beard, but he definitely exfoliates with a gentle exfoliator before he
Mhm.
shaves. He shaves with the grain. And something that he does actually right before he shaves is that he uses a little bit of conditioner, and that kind of softens. Like you
Oh.
said, you want to
Mhm.
minimize friction. So doing
Mhm.
things to like a conditioner can help soften and make the area a little bit more slippery.
Yeah. And then also, again, we want to address when it comes to razor bumps and burns, you have to address multiple levels of preventing it. And so another thing you can try is reducing the bacteria on the skin. So again, that's why I have literally in every single shower in my house a bottle of benzoyl peroxide or a bottle of Hibiclens because it does it all, you know. So you
Hmm.
wash with that. It reduces the bacteria on the skin so that that bacteria doesn't get into the hair follicle and lead to inflammation and leading to a razor bump or a razor burn.
Yeah, that's such a good call out. And the other thing too, so bacteria is another component, and then the other component is just like the buildup of keratin
Mhm.
at our hair follicle. So
Right.
using some kind of retinoid regularly,
Yes.
um, it may be a little bit tough to use it like right after you shave, but like definitely
Mhm.
the days that you don't shave to use a retinoid to kind of keep that that cell turnover at a
Yeah.
good level, so you're not building up skin and plugging your hair follicles.
Yeah. Well, let's try to address one more thing that is, I think, the hot topic that's all over TikTok and social media is the queen that is Hibiclens. Like we've talked about it
Yes.
several times already in this episode. What is Hibiclens? Why do people use it? Why are people obsessed with it? And how do you use it?
So Hibiclens is a pretty potent antibacterial product that derms actually use really to sterilize an area because it really does wipe out the bacteria on your
Hmm.
skin. And it's very effective. And it, like I said, we use it like before surgery.
Hmm.
That's probably the main way we use it for patients
Yeah.
who go into surgery. I'll like have them wash their body part with it prior to surgery.
Hmm.
And like as you mentioned earlier, I mean, it could be effective for things like body odor, or if
Hmm.
you're dealing with odor other parts of your body, super helpful for that.
Yeah, we also use it for this condition called hidradenitis suppurativa, which is this chronic condition where you get boils and cysts in the your underarms and your private areas. So it really is a good product to have, especially if you're prone also to like folliculitis and staph infections. But there's a very specific way that you should use it, and
Hmm.
I don't know if a lot of people on TikTok realize this that and I actually had a friend in healthcare who's a PA who was doing this. And I was like, bro, what are you doing? He was using it as a face wash and a scalp
Yeah,
wash. And
no,
I'm
no,
like, dude,
no.
you can't do that. So, guys, if
Mm-mm.
you're listening and you're a lover of Hibiclens, do not use it from your neck up.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for saying that.
Yes, it can cause issues with like hearing and vision, and it can have some
Hmm.
toxicity to your eyes and your ears. So
Yes.
while I think that risk is very minimal, so if you're at home and you're like, holy shit, I have been using this on my face. You're not going to die. Okay. Just stop doing it. And there's actually a product I really like for the face and scalp that's like similar to Hibiclens. It's that CLN shampoo and face wash. So it kind of like does the
Yeah.
same thing, but it's not Hibiclens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I do love that for the face and the scalp. So I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that. But yeah, I would be weary about using Hibiclens, like you said, neck up.
Hmm.
And the other thing too, I'm not a proponent of using it like every day. I'm more of a proponent of using it like once a week or so,
Yeah.
just because it is a pretty potent antibacterial product.
Hmm. What do you think if you overuse it, can you disrupt your skin barrier, disrupt your microbiome? Is that a possibility?
I think that that's a theoretical possibility. I haven't seen, I mean, then again, I don't see that many patients who come in using it every day.
Right.
But that's like the theoretical risk with that. We don't see it as much as like hypochlorous acid.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Mamina? I think that we should do another episode on hygiene because we could talk about
Yes,
this for literal days. And I actually really enjoy talking about hygiene because it affects all of us. So
totally.
let's do a part two. Let us know, guys, if
We
you want to hear a
should.
part two and what you think we should cover.
Yes.
I definitely think we should do an everything shower in that episode.
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you think? Maybe like scalp folliculitis.
Yeah, I think people want to know about scalp stuff. So that sort of goes along with everything shower, but like what is the proper scalp care? We did talk a little bit about that in the hair episode, but I think that people can't get enough on like
For
proper
sure.
hair care practices. So I think that's huge. All
Okay.
right. Well, so, hygiene is important because yes, bacteria can do not so fun things on our body, but also it plays a huge role with our skin health and overall confidence. So, love this episode. And Lindsay shared some takeaways that were great. You don't want to over exfoliate. If you're going to
Mhm.
use deodorant or antiperspirant, best to use it at night. And we gave some great shaving tips. You want to shave with the grain. You want to have a regular exfoliating practice
Mhm.
and use a retinoid when shaving. And Hibiclens is an amazing secret weapon if you are dealing with things like body odor or other bacterial issues like folliculitis on the body.
But don't use it on your face or scalp.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here today. Please remember to subscribe. Remember that there is a PDF that you can download listing everything that we discussed today in this episode. So again, thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Lindsay. You're Dr. Mamina. This is Skin Deep and Unfiltered. Tune in next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.